Pusick. This is ENN, brought to you by Security Dodge. Go see Michelle Scalisi and...
Come get some!
Yeah!
I'd like to start off by saying good evening to Peter's phone. And then I'd like to say good evening to Don.
Let me talk to you, Don. Don.
Listen, I thought the Cohen was almost a rant, but then you have this, and then you wonder, really, I mean...
So spit in your face! Might as well wear a jersey with a kick me sign on the back.
The Giants organization loogied on my forehead.
Please continue.
That I'm a lot more passionate about the Giants than I am the Mets.
Yes.
That's what that says there. Because I think there's a lot more to be concerned about with the Mets, but the uniforms... Like, what the level of what should bother you it should be Steve Cohen's situation and the Mets situation more so than the Giants' jerseys. Because, listen, if they win, ultimately it's not going to matter what they're wearing. Right. Although I almost lock they'll be 0-2 in those jerseys. Lock. But
that hurts the win-loss.
Yeah, I don't know who they're against. But I'm just telling you. When they wear the old 80s Giants helmet, lose. When they wore the red jersey, lose.
I was going to say, do they have a good record with those red jerseys?
Nothing. I'll take that. I'm more passionate football fan than baseball fan.
They should have just made it the jersey your standard 86 jersey, like the 86 and 90 team. That's still very retro.
Well, they did retro 80s last year.
I mean, that should just be the thing. They had to do it, make it more special. Maybe change the helmet, red helmet.
That was what the helmet was.
No, but that wasn't what the helmet was.
No.
It was
the
like
helmet,
that's what
this... I thought you meant this iteration of the jersey.
The helmet wasn't even...
There was a leather helmet. There was no...
Well, yes.
I know.
They made the leather into what the leather looked like. They put that now on a real helmet.
Maybe I would take...
Yes, showed it on that screen.
Maybe if you want to do something different to honor the history, we want to make it... Because let's be honest, they want to mix it up too, right? They want to do something different. What if you took the blue and white retro they've been wearing, the 86 style retro they've been wearing, and did that with like a red version of the helmet with Giants in blue across it? Like, you switch it up a little bit while paying tribute to a thing that actually mattered. This is just...
See, they have to colorize it was 1920. They have to colorize the picture to tell you that's what it did look like at the time.
So someone did actually wear that hideous jersey?
Yeah, it's not like, it's an ode literally back to what it was. And there's the helmet, which wasn't, as we know, in the 20s, a helmet. Because, as Don said, they weren't trying. But I'll tell you what they're going to do.
Because they didn't care. They dragged you off the field, threw somebody else on.
At MetLife.
I sold a lot of socks.
Concussion, they taped an aspirin to your forehead.
They taped him.
You're going to be upset.
And Don was. Isn't that right, Peter?
The tib, it's a lie. By the way, there are a few other options that you had for...
I sold a lot of socks.
There's a lot of Richard today.
I'm proud of today.
We did a hell of a show.
Glorious.
There's no Frank Sinatra out there.
Those were the fact that we have a whole page.
Yeah, but we still didn't find the one that I was talking about.
What would that be?
I never watched golf. I never golfed in my life. Quarterbox.
I like that one.
It was when he called like a month ago, and he just asked me. He goes, "Peter, I want to ask you something." And he started off going directly and asking me a question. I went, "No, Richard."
Oh, no, I've cut that before.
You remember that?
In the system.
It's in there. You'll find it,
Richard
Jacob.
and Peter. It's somewhere in there.
It's recent. And I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Because that's the thing about Richard. He either brings you straight heat or pure, hot, steaming doo-doo. Those are his only speeds, Don. There's no middle ground.
Right.
Peter, I think this is an appropriate time because Don has talked about Steve Cohen. Don has talked about the Giants' choice of jersey for their 100th year. It's time for this.
Tiger Watch.
So, Tiger, how did you play today?
Not good.
Got to kind of a slow start.
Do you feel like you're bad to win at this level?
Yeah, I do, because I just did it.
You just love Tiger. Sniff him dead.
Well, Xander Schauffele at the PGA Tour in Valhalla in Louisville shot a 62 to tie the major record for the second time. He shot a 9 under. Tied the major championship record. He was already on that list with a 62 last year at the U.S. Open. The previous mark at the PGA was 63. That has him at -9. Tiger at +1. Bogeyed the last 2 holes that he played today.
So what's the cut tomorrow, you think it's going to be, if it stays where it is?
You know what?
Do the math, Peter.
I'd have to see. Maybe it might be up on ESPN of what the cut would be.
It's going to be problematic. He can make the cut. I didn't look yet, but if the leaders are as far below as they are, but 10 under, whatever.
9 for Schauffele.
9.
Yeah. He's 10 back.
Tiger's going to have to hover at like even to 2 under to make the cut, right? I would think.
Yeah. And the back-to-back
tell you?
bogeys
I'll
at
tell
the end.
you.
The back-to-back bogeys at the end of the day. didn't
Well,
help.
you know what it is? It's not what you want.
No, it's not what you want.
But, I mean, this is going to be... Here's the thing about Tiger. This story's never going to end. That's the thing about golf. This is... I know it's still... Like, it seems like we've been dealing with this forever. But in terms of, like, the bigger story that is Tiger aging sort of out of the game, this is sort of still early in that. And this year it's going to be about him being able to finish these tournaments. Hopefully not have a Sunday like he did at the Masters, which was disgraciado.
So no projected cut yet because people still in action in round 1. He's tied for 87th. And I don't anticipate that getting better.
Well, so look, literally, if he's tied for 87th right now, he's almost exactly in the middle. So he's hovering the cut line.
Yeah.
And he'll have to have a better day tomorrow. Pick up a couple strokes.
So that's that. I believe you could watch that on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I watched on ESPN.
Oh, yeah. Listen. I mean, you have to. Don was not watching.
No, I made him change it in the office when I went to have lunch. I'm not going to sit down and partake in lunch with that pap on.
Would you say the opening game of the Major League season is the same as the opening game of the World Series, Peter?
No, I would not.
Oh, you would? Okay, well.
See, it's there.
I knew it was there.
You know, there's just in the K column. There are way too many things.
It's a lot.
I went back to old drops that didn't even make any sense a couple days ago when I was sifting through everything. Guys, we talked about the article written on Tom Thibodeau on ESPN by Tim Cowan. Did you see the picture that was hovering around in that where he was laying on a beach, full head of hair?
Who?
Tom Thibodeau.
Oh, yeah. No,
I saw the handsome pic.
You can kind of see it's him.
Again, I call him Tibbs or Thibodeau now. I've made a decision.
Right, you have to change it. Well, the viral photo had when he was speaking today, he was asked about it.
Look, I don't know who the writer is. Tim, tell him I'm looking for him. And you give it to Josh Hart? Are you kidding me? Of all the people?
I mean, giving that picture to Josh Hart is just setting Tibbs up for tremendous torture. But it's funny. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at it. It's a good article too. It kind of speaks to how Tibbs got to where he is and why he's the coach that he is. And you know what? It's working for the Knicks. Other stuff.
Damn right it is.
Other stuff from today. Of course, Thibodeau was asked about Brunson. Anunoby was very coy about it. And then, of course, we find out from Ian Begley reports indicate that OG will not be ready for Game 6. But Jalen Brunson spoke as well. Are you in awe? Someone asked him this. Are you in awe of some of your performances?
In awe? No. Never in awe. But sometimes I look back and think about some of the things that happened. So I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. But I'm never like in awe. No.
And now Knicks Alumni Row has gotten a lot of press.
Isn't that such a humble answer? Like he was almost uncomfortable being asked that. And that's
he hadn't even considered the idea of it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's a very Michael question.
Maybe Michael was there.
Because because Michael knows if it was him.
Oh, he'd be watching. And
he'd be in awe of himself.
Well, that was that Michael, whenever we would have, he hasn't asked it in a while, but if he ever had somebody like really special on, like a Hall of Famer, he would ask the question, do you ever walk by the mirror, look at yourself and go, oh yeah? That would be a question he would ask.
I remember.
You had Mike Breen on. I'm sure he's probably asked Breen that at one point.
I think he might have, and Breen
on this air, I believe. Yeah,
but that's an uncomfortable question. Like, can you imagine if the answer is, oh yeah,
Michael's a strange guy. I want to tell you guys something right now.
This is quite the way to go.
The only difference between me and Michael in this way.
Interesting.
This is the difference between me, Michael, and Don.
Okay.
All three of us are really nice guys. Mm-hmm. Like in real life, you meet us, really nice guys. Whatever. Very human, I believe. Mm-hmm. All three of us. Here's the order, though, of what's going on. Don is legitimately modest. It's not even quite modesty. He thinks that he's garbage. You know what I mean? Like, Don sits down at the negotiating table. They go, we were going to offer you lunch. He goes, I'll take it. And he just sticks his hand out. He can't believe that they welcome him back every day, right? Then there's me. And while I'm really nice and appreciative of the moment, I'm like, no, I deserve to be here. I want to be treated a certain way. Treat me nice. I'll treat you nice. I know that I'm somebody, and I act accordingly. Then there's Michael, who's the exact same as me. Wait for it. But he pretends he's like Don.
Ooh,
he's not.
Oh, my.
He's not.
Why are you bringing this up at 6:12?
I know, it's good stuff. It could have been a whole show. But, like, whenever it comes up, I hate myself, I'm this, I'm that. No, that's like part of, I'm not saying he's cocky or arrogant. I don't think he's that either. But I don't think I'm that either. I just think I know what I believe about myself. I think he's very similar, but he likes to do the aw shucks, I'm just a nobody. Why would anyone care about me? Meanwhile, when our friend Gary took us to our delightful dinner at Rayo's last night.
I mean, you guys had to basically be wheeled in today.
Well, it was
with how much food you ate.
It was a heavy meal. It's an experience. If anyone gets the opportunity to have it, we were thrilled to have it.
They were very fortunate.
But when the maitre d', I believe it was, I can't remember if it was the waiter or the maitre d', came over and talked to us.
Listen, if you have two, you're already in a nice place.
They come over and talk to us, and they go, "Oh, yeah, Michael's here all the time."
Oh.
They talk about Michael like it's in the same breath that they would say, Joan Rivers used to come in and Carmelo Anthony sits over there. I mean, and then Michael will turn around to you and just have the gall. And it's the worst kind of gall.
The unmitigated.
The unmitigated. Oh. The unmitigated gall.
Unbelievable.
To go like, nobody cares about me. Why would they? I'm just a nobody.
Right.
And
I'm a local yokel.
I'm a local yokel. And we're like, yeah, but you're a local yokel in the number one market, and you've been the voice of the most popular team in that market for the last 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
I don't hear what you're saying.
I just care about Peeper.
Before we run out of time, I just want to pass along that the Liberty are taking on Caitlin Clark
and the Fever. You think we don't know?
That game is going to be on My 9, but it's also available on the Yes app.
We did mention that. Yes wasn't with us yet, but in game time, of course, we brought up the Liberty.
Right, but now with Yes with us, for people that might want to tune into that game on Yes, it'll actually be on My 9.
Well, and I got to tell you, going to do quite a number because Caitlin Clark's Fever debut, the most watched WNBA game since 2001. What do you think the number was?
6-1.
Yeah, definitely. It was 6-1. That was exact. Nielsen came up with 6-1.
I will say 4 million.
That'd be ridiculous.
And Don?
2.
Yes, Don is closer. Drew 2.1 million across all platforms Tuesday night, making it the most watched WNBA game on ESPN. Viewership peaked at 2.3 million views. You got to remember, Peter.
It was up against the NBA playoffs.
It was up against a lot of things.
Well, Bruins Panthers was on ESPN and did basically the same number as the WNBA on ESPN2. It's a phenomenon now. Like, I think there's a lot of people that watch that don't necessarily care about the Fever or whoever they're playing, but she is must-see TV right
Absolutely. Now. The game it beat in 2001 on Memorial Day, LA Sparks, Houston Comets. 2001, did we have Lisa Leslie in that game? Like,
absolutely.
We're talking about 2.45 million on a holiday.
When it was still a new league, by the way.
And this is 2.1 opening game.
This is going to sound crazy.
I love crazy.
Now, the WNBA has grown, but am I wrong to feel that in the era that you're just talking about, and I guess the numbers back it up, that the league was more of a thing?
No.
Like, I feel like when I was first, because in 2001, I was just leaving the fan coming to ESPN, because the Liberty were pretty good. They came in 97. I think they went to the finals their first year or close to it or something. It felt like in the infancy of it, it was more of a thing. Then it kind of really fell off. And now, obviously, it's got a chance to go back, but I guess those numbers back up.
Well, stars tell the story, right? And Caitlin Clark has certainly...
and then there were stars back, because now these stars had some place to play.
Yeah. So keep an eye on it. My 9,
was it Teresa Witherspoon was on the Liberty?
I don't remember. That predates me being here.
Yeah, see,
wow, that was a long time ago.
By years it does. I'll tell you what, it's a fascinating time, and I interviewed Flage yesterday.
How was that?
She was awesome. And she's now the star of LSU.
Yes.
She was the second star at LSU prior to Angel Reese going to the WNBA. And I had a great conversation with her about what it's been like being around it. Because I was like, do you realize how lucky your timing is? You got her first year in college sports, you could get paid to be an athlete. So first of all, she immediately started making money the second she got to LSU. Then she ends up on this team that's obviously amazing. And you happen to be colleagues with or peers with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese as the league's exploding. But to the point we were talking about earlier today, Don, about how it is interesting for athletes because they're always the greatest athlete ever. Then you leave high school. She was saying when she got to LSU, it was She grew up a star in Savannah because her dad was a rapper who was killed, like a legend.
Oh, wow.
That's how she became a rapper. Her dad was a rapper, so she was already famous as a kid, kind of. Then she became the best high school basketball player anyone had known. Then she gets to LSU, and now she's next to Angel Reese. And she was saying it was actually kind of a weird relief. It was humbling, she said, to not be that person.
Sure, of course.
But then also when they got into these big situations, like a championship game, it was sort of nice to be like, everyone wants to talk to Angel Reese. I get to be the one for once who sits to the side. Cool. Because for these people, their whole life, they're the biggest athlete anybody ever knew.
Right, you're the best player on your team. Then you go to a place where everybody was the best player on their team, and somebody's got to be the best.
Example, a guy named Bronny James.
Well, listen.
Like, who gets to USC and is seeing, 9 minutes a game or whatever it was
And
this
he was
year?
behind somebody in USC who they projected to be a really high pick this year. And that's why he didn't start.
It's interesting.
Just
fascinating.
Just a little FYI to people out there.
Okay.
Can they stop tweeting me, the articles about why the Giants are wearing those uniforms and the history?
I think people are confused.
Dude, I know the history. Come on, challenge me. I'll win any trivia contest. I know the history of the Giants. I get why they're doing it. It doesn't make it any less repug. So don't send me long articles about those teams. I get it. I don't like it.
I don't think you went on this rant to say, I don't understand why Big Blue is wearing a red jersey. You're saying I don't like the jerseys.
Straight them out!
I wouldn't have liked them in 1920, and I don't like them now.
Correct. And it's a weird thing to honor. It's a dumb thing to honor.
And I love the mage. He's like, sends the gif with the...
Stay mage.
With the old man yelling at Cloud from The Simpsons.
Sure.
Like, how is that?
It's
the exact opposite.
It's the opposite. The old man is what the jerseys
are. And by the way, the people that are saying that, take a look around at your peers, however old you are. I don't know how old that person is. People my age, people your guys' age, and in between, and younger. A lot of people don't like this jersey. And it's being universally panned.
It's awful.
Here's the thing. I'm going to go there.
Oh, boy.
Because sports is like politics now.
Oh, God.
It's like, well, I'm a Giant fan, so I've got to love everything they do because I'm a Giant fan. Well, I'm as big a Giant fan as you, and this is repugnant. And they should be embarrassed.
It's not good. Now, guys, great news for Peter's, I guess, team, the Celtics. And, well, I mean, he's a Knicks fan, he's a Celtics fan, whatever.
I do like those Knicks. I do like this Knicks bunch.
Well, it's good news for everybody. Peter's Celtics won. They move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, which means, of course, full K-vehicle tomorrow. For us.
Yay! Oh, yeah.
Ty Butler follows us from 6:30 to 8, leading into Knicks pregame.
Because Gross is filling in for Rick.
What time are we tipping tomorrow?
8:30.
8:30.
8:30 tip?
8:30 tip.
Yeah, because that's the lone game now. It's a standalone game. We could have gotten a 6 o'clock vehicle.
It's inhumane.
Had the Cavaliers won, which we knew wasn't going to happen.
You're going to be upset.
And then Dan Grassa is filling in for Rick DiPietro in the morning, thus opening the door for Ty to fill in for Dan.
Ty's the perfect person.
That is a heavy NBA show right there.
Yeah, that is, as it should be.
And some jet schedule, I'm sure, also.
Not a big Ty guy, but...
Whoa!
Great human being, but he lost me with his. He put up a tweet.
Oh, this is big.
You saw he put up the tweet like, "Who has the best playoffs? Major League Baseball, NBA."
He didn't put the Stanley
and he
Cup
didn't put the Stanley. That's just ignorant. But he's a very good talk show host, and he's a really good guy.
But you're done with him.
But I'm out. Both can be true. No, both can be true.
Wait, hold on.
Listen, I said I got to love everybody. No. I think he's a fabulous talk show host, and I think he's a better person. He's a terrific father, but you know what? I'm good.
He's good. But hold on.
Peter, he's just good.
So you're giving him all the important stuff he gets.
Right.
But the fact that he didn't properly honor the hockey playoffs.
But just not knowing.
Well,
just be better.
Well, is it possible that he just sort of, it was just an oversight based on his own personal sports bias?
That you can't what do you do? Talk shows for you or for the audience?
No, this is very
tough. It's a learning, but sometimes it's got to be a little pot. Then you lose me.
Could he win you back?
Of course.
I never watched golf. I never golfed in my life.
See, I'm a Richard guy now.
I want to hear this drop of Don laughing at Freddie Keegan.
Not a fake laugh. That's real.
That's the real
That
stuff.
was as real as the Michelle Beadle laugh from earlier.
We never did talk about the Riz thing. I'll tell you after the show. Now, of course, we do have to get out of here on time today because I am in a Rangers shirt, and if I'm in a Rangers shirt, that means the Rangers are playing.
That's right.
Following us here, Don goes over to the other studio, 6:30 pregame, Rangers-Canes, Game 6 down in Raleigh. Sam Rose and Dave Maloney on the call.
And Dave Maloney was a guest of Bart and Hahn today.
He was.
Really good stuff. And again, I'm fed up, too. I'm very excited to have Harvey and Joe, but they know who I am and what I'm about.
Oh, this
what
is
do you
bad,
mean?
Peter.
Again, what are we having for dinner? Again, Joe Leo, I'm good. I brought my own. What am I doing here? What am I doing?
Wait,
I'm a guy, I will buy food for everybody. That's who I am. And they bring in their own food. It's just disrespectful.
Wait.
The first thing you should be thinking about is what are we eating? Well,
they send a hot bag of crap.
The producing stuff. Come on, I've been doing Ranger pregame.
What are you producing?
For 20 years. I can go in there and close my eyes and meditate and do 25 minutes on the Rangers. Get some food going.
When you're
Same
here,
thing with the 16 years with the Jets. What are we eating? I brought my own. What are you doing?
Well, hold on.
Buttle brings plenty of KFC for everybody.
Wait, and you got to be here all night.
All night. Yeah, it could be all night. I don't know. This game may not end.
I really hope it does. I really hope it does.
But wait. So what are you going to do now? You going to order by yourself?
No. You know what?
I'm sure Sandy will be involved.
I don't know. Maybe me and Ray. It's always just me and Ray.
I'm so sorry to hear that this has happened.
I just don't get it. Come on, Rodney, wake up!
I think the best thing to do is to play Peter and Michelle Beta from Over the Top talking about Riz.
And that is what the kids call, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is that having Riz? Is that Riz?
Oh, boy. Here we
right?
go. I thought we covered this earlier about you never saying that again.
Believe that's Riz related.
So, correct me if I'm wrong.
He's definitely Riz.
No, you can't describe something. It's not an adjective. I know that. It's apparently short for charisma. Like Riz. Got that Riz.
I'm sorry. What are all you such a hurry for that you can't just say charisma? Sorry, don't have time for the extra syllables.
On that note, that will do it for ENN.
That's Michelle Beadle for you.
Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during the Memorial Day sales event.
And subscribe for that great Over the Top podcast wherever you find it. Guys, up next, all your Rangers coverage with Donnie Pucks right here on 98.7 ESPN.